Nick Bolton, probably the most polarizing, which is crazy to say, but Nick Bolton, probably the most polarizing player in Chiefs Kingdom and Chiefs Twitter for, I can't remember a guy who's been more polarizing than him. It's either
3 months, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. You're either a giant fan of Nick Bolton or you're not a fan at all. So Chiefs locked up Nick Bolton to a 3-year, $45 million extension with $30 million in guarantees. It's a flat deal, $15 million in each year, the first 2 guaranteed. So Teja took to Twitter after seeing a lot of people dogging this, saying the Chiefs, Eagles, and Bills just paid their linebackers a total of $146 million, but Twitter GMs know way more about team building than Veach, Roseman, and Beam. And JD said, not the GMs of 3 teams that have won more Super Bowls and been to more postseason games in the last 5 years than anyone else. Geez, you don't say. So this pretty much just tells you a lot of people were saying, oh, it's too much money for Nick Bolton. We could have drafted someone, yada, yada, yada. Drew Tranquil could have won the green dot. I've seen everything. And people forget, it's like, Drew Tranquil probably had more head-scratching plays than Nick Bolton did. And Drew Tranquil was supposed to be our coverage guy. And I saw him get lost in coverage a lot of times. And a lot of times Nick Bolton was getting called out for stuff that wasn't even his. That was Tranquil's guys that just dropped in his zone. So anyway, we bring back Bolton. I know JD and I are huge fans of Nick Bolton. Teja, you're a fan of this deal. What did you guys make of this Nick Bolton and just kind of the overall the polarization and divisiveness when it comes to Nick Bolton in the Chiefs world?
Go ahead, Tage. I'll let you knock us out first, brother.
Yeah, okay. I think there's a lot of nuance to this whole conversation that just people want to go black and white. My guy spent too much money, didn't spend enough money. Did we overpay for Bolton? Maybe, right? So it just really depends on how you look at the whole thing. If you had a number in your head before free agency started, and we went over that number by a penny, spending someone else's money, then sure, we overpaid for him, right? But if you just look at the market to see what other lead linebackers got, Sherwood, I put my tweet out before, Sherwood got the same exact contract that Bolton got. Sherwood, Bernard, Bond, all got very, very similar deals. This is just what the cost was. That's it. I thought about this for a while. So if I own a restaurant, okay, and the chef has a meal that he's cooking up, a special of the day, and it calls for eggs. You go to the market and you pay whatever the store or the market charges for eggs. You pay the X number of dollars for that, right? That's it. End of story. But if I came back to my restaurant with all my ingredients and the chef's pulling them out, he's like, whoa, where the hell's the eggs? I'm like, oh, yeah, they were $2 more than I wanted. So just open the cabinet in the drawers and figure it out and just try to move some things around and try to cook around it, right? He's gonna be like, dude, you're making me completely change the recipe to my meal. And I know how delicious it's gonna be over $2. So no, you don't walk away from Bolton saying, oh, it's $2 or $3 more million a year than we really want to spend. So yeah, we got to find a new captain of our defense. No, that's not how it works. I know at the end of the day, we all live in regret. I would be a lot more pissed off if I saw Bolton go to the Broncos for the same exact contract that 4 other linebackers got, and we didn't want to pony up and pay that over $2 million. I would be furious about that. So in general, did we pay more than you'd like to see linebackers get paid in your mind? Sure. Did he get paid more compared to the market? No, it was market value. That's what he costs.
Yeah. The reality is this, that Nick Bolton is the general of our defense. He is Spag's brain out there on the field. He's a guy that puts everybody in a position to be ready, to make sure everybody knows what they're doing. He is the catalyst between the D-line and the secondary, okay, to make sure everybody is on the same page. And the thing is, his value was rewarded. That's exactly what the Chiefs did. So, yeah, it was the market, but also, too, like you said right now, if you go ahead and get him for this deal, next year and the year after that, you're going to sit there and say, man, we got a value for Nick Bolton. He's a leader of our defense. He's a leading tackler on our defense. He's been out there just making play after play after play. Okay. When he came into the league, He was a leading tackler in the SEC history, I think, at the time, especially that one year when he came in. He's a tackling machine. There's no question about it. He's a solid little linebacker that you're going to get. He don't have to be 6'3" Fred Warner or Raekwon Smith. Raekwon Smith didn't play that great this past year, but Nick Bolton is a value for us. He's an important piece of what we do defensively because of the scheme that we run. And people can sit there and say Drew Tranquill did a good job. Drew Tranquill is not Nick Bolton. He's not. He doesn't have the same body type. He gets lost in the sauce sometimes. And it's not taking anything from Drew Tranquill. He's a better cover linebacker. We understood that some of the limits of Nick Bolton is in coverage, but he does a good enough job to be able to get away from it. The thing is, if you get guys in the draft, and we keep going back to the defensive tackles, the defensive end, that could create pressure, it makes his job a lot easier. Guys in front of him, it makes it a job a lot easier for the linebackers that's in front of him as far as the defensive line. Nick Bolton is the guy for us. I called him elite. The reason I call him elite is because when you see him every single game he shows up, I think he might have had 1 or 2 bad games last year. And the thing is, if he does something bad, right, he didn't tackle Josh Allen going into the game. Oh, my God, look at Nick Bolton didn't do a good job. Well, shoot, you didn't talk about all the other 40 plays that he played in. He did well. It's the one that you're always going to hold on to, right, because you hate him because of whatever reason, all right? You got a bias against him because he's not tall enough. He's not this guy. He's not that guy. Nobody's going to be perfect. But one thing I will tell you, and Spags will tell you it's himself, Nick Bolton needs to be on this defense. And the reason they signed him to this contract is because they knew they needed somebody that was a staple to the things that we did. Optimistic James says consistent. No question about it. So did we overpay? I wouldn't say we did. I think this is something that they rewarded him because of his value to the team. They saw that, and they rewarded him for it. And I think they said, man, he does such a good job. We're going to reward you for staying here. Same thing with Trey Smith. They gave him a tag. Why? Because they love Trey Smith. They think he brings everything to the table that they needed. Decided to keep him as far as then a Joe Tooney. Now, he's younger and all those different things, but that's why when they tagged him for the 23, they didn't mind doing that. Those are the 2 guys that we're talking about, right? That we're talking about Trey Smith and Nick Bolton. Guess what? Both those guys are here. Both those guys are here. And those 2 guys are a priority when they start looking at it. And it's the same thing looking at the draft. Can you go get a younger guy that can do this? Sure. He may be more athletic. He may be a little bit bigger than Nick Bolton. But can he do all the other things Nick Bolton does? Is his IQ on the same level, football-wise, as Nick Bolton? Can he come in and call my defense, which is like one of the most, creative schemes that's out there for Spags to get guys in the right position, to call it the way that he wants to? Or is that going to take time? Who's to say a guy may never get it? That's why they was able to let a guy like Willie Gayton leave. You know why? Because they said, we got Nick Bolton here. And somebody we got here like a Drew Tranquill could come in and play that position. So for me, when a team and a coach is sold on a guy, I know for a fact they understand the value that he has. They understand it fully. And they understand, like, if we don't have this guy here, things do fall apart. We may not be as efficient. We may not be as effective. We need a guy like this here. So people may not like it, okay? I didn't necessarily love the Jalen Moore move, but I trust it. They fine. Do your due diligence. I'm cool with it. Y'all like it, I love it. This one I love because I know his value. I've seen it. I watched him play. And I'm not talking about the times he gets beat by Isaiah Likely. If you a guy, you're going to get beat. Trent McDuffie got beat. All these dudes do happen. Sometimes Chris Jones get beat one-on-one. We seen it. So, but for us, Nick Bolton is that guy. He's that guy. So I don't know what everybody else is looking for and stuff like that. We won, Super Bowls with him. He's made plays in the Super Bowl that made, that let us win and scoop and score. And I mean, come on, man. I mean, his impact over the years since he's been here, I don't think we can't mimic that. There's nobody here that we have. I don't know if we get somebody like that was going to cost you more money to be here at that point. So they knew it. They was like, we got to get this deal done. I'm glad they did. I'm glad
you're getting too.
You know what you're getting.
You're not like surprised. You know, like I don't have any doubt that we're going to get the Bolton we got the past couple of years and then maybe some. You know what I mean? So it's like you're not paying like an unknown, which is why he had a market, because like any team that gets him knows what they're getting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
he was the only linebacker, like we talked about this a couple weeks ago, the only linebacker, a free agent middle linebacker that was 25 years or younger going into his free agency. And, and happy birthday, Nick Bolton. Today's his birthday, March 10th. So there you go. Big deal on his birthday. But, you know, you see comments like, I mean, Spags called him the general of defense. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, leading up to the Super Bowl, the linebackers coach, Brandon Daly, quote, said, I don't even want to think about life without Nick Bolton. I mean, that's your linebackers coach. I know it's your linebackers coach. That's like your guy. That's his guy. But to hear a comment like that, though, like I don't know I don't want to think about life without him. And Spags, now he's called him the general of his defense. Spags said he can only think of one other player that kind of reminds him of that. It was the captain of his defense on those Giants teams was Antonio Pierce. He just says like the leadership and the IQ. He said it just stands out like Antonio Pierce did for him. So that tells you a lot about how they feel about him. This guy's only 25. I mean, so young, so young.
And I want to say about to tie us into draft again. Also, would not be surprised if you see a top 1 to 5 round linebacker, because Chenal is a free agent after next season. He's in a contract year. Tranquil has 2 more years left, but he's also 31, turning 32. So, you know, our linebacker room wasn't as stable in the long term. So Bolton gives us that stability. Now, if you have a Sam linebacker you like a lot in this draft, he's there. Do it. Take it now, right? That's kind of what I was alluding to earlier with, like, not just saying like, oh, a safety's available, let's do it. But in situations like this where you're like, oh, I don't know where our linebacker room is going to be in a year or 2 from now. Shoot, like, can we afford Chenal? Does he like tear it up this year and price himself out? Can we have 2 $15 to $20 million linebackers? I don't know if we can, right? So you don't know that. So this a guy you draft in the 3rd or 4th round might be your starting linebacker in a year, 2 years from now.
I know that when he was hurt and he missed the span a couple of times, you know, from the injury, there was 5 games. Tranquil came in and played that position. You know, we had Cochran came in. And the thing is, if teams see that they got a guy that is at least comparable to you or even close, they might go with that pick just to save money. But they made a decision after looking at it saying, no, we can't do without it. Like you see, he's sitting there saying, I can't even think about a life without Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton's putting everybody like, you need to be here in the A-gap, C, this is how we're running it. And he's letting everybody know, like, man, you can't, you got to be here in coverage. Bless you. And so those things, man, we playing on a team, and I'm watching defenses, okay? And I used to be Mike linebacker, okay? I don't know if it's still on here or not, but you need a joker right there as your Mike to put everybody in order. He's the sergeant at arms. He's the guy to get everything. He's the general. He's putting everybody where you need to be. And so if Spags is running something that's going to be a little bit more difficult, Nick Bolton's going to get it right. He understands that. And you know who he's going to communicate to? He's going to communicate with Nick. He's going to communicate with Nick. He don't have to go talk to 8 guys. Hey, Nick, I need such and such. Coach, I got it.
Yeah.
He'll be there. He'll be there.
Would you say it's easier to replace a Sam linebacker than a Mike?
Absolutely. No doubt.
And we basically chose, more or less, a lot of people said this online too, we basically chose Nick Bolton over Leo Chenal. That's what we pretty much did.
Yeah. I didn't know Drew Crabtree. You said Drew's going to be 32?
I think he's 30. No. By the time his contract comes up, he's 20.
I was like, God.
He's 20. He'll be 30 before the season starts, and by the next year, he'll be 31.
Okay. No, it's good. I was like, I didn't know Drew was.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I didn't word that correctly.
Oh, yeah.
It's some fans want a combination of wants, and they're speculating with the amount of times Willie Gay has commented on every Chiefs player who's gotten a contract this offseason that Willie Gay wouldn't be surprised if he comes back. He signed for like a 1-year, $2 million deal in New Orleans last year. So, like, I mean, he's not breaking the bank by any means. And I think he missed a good amount of games in New Orleans this past year. So, his market's probably not too hot. He knows the system
He's still
already.
young too. He's only 27.
He's still young and he's an athletic beast. To have him back, I would love a reunion with Willie Gay, and I know every Chief fan wants that. So,
yeah, intangibles matter in this team, no question about it. That's why
Big
we
time.
have one of the best, run defenses. A lot of it has to do with the guy that's right there in the middle, and so you need for him to hawk guys down. He can run sideline to sideline. That's his forte. His forte is he could fill in the gaps. He could get there and make plays. We've seen him do it over and over again since he's been here. Never been disappointed. Yeah, he's going to get beat. Yeah, sometimes these things are going to happen. I've seen other guys get beat. I've seen Fred Warner get beat. I've seen Raekwon Smith get beat. I've seen whoever you name, Queen, name them.
yeah.
Name them. So,
yeah. And not to mention, the other guys got signed this free agency. Bond. The guy's older than Nick Bolton. Also hasn't really done it much. This is the first year we actually saw Bond do that at the middle linebacker spot. He got paid pretty much what Nick Bolton's been getting paid. He's been doing it for a few years. So, it's interesting that he's got there's such polarizing takes. And I don't know, not being from the Kansas City area, maybe I don't really know, but maybe it's because he went to Mizzou, and then we have a lot of Kansas and Kansas State fans in the area, and there's just too much of this. Like, I don't get it. I really don't understand the pushback and the hate that he gets. It's pretty wild to me. You would think a guy who went to Mizzou would have some love in the area, and it's too much hate for Nick Bolton for no reason.
You know what it is? I think it is like he's not your prototypical guy. He's not 6'4", 6'3". He's not that guy. And so they say, oh, he's tiny, he can't do this and all that. Who was I can't think of the linebacker. Played with the Rams, then played with Washington.
Fletcher, London Fletcher?
London Fletcher. He's a London Fletcher guy. He is. And London Fletcher gets it all right. He ain't gonna be the best coverage guy, but he's gonna get everything else right. Who's gonna do that.
He was a beast.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.